I used to think my best days were behind me. I'd look in the mirror and wonder, where did that strong man go? It wasn't that I stopped loving life. It wasn't that I stopped loving the woman who sits beside me every night. It was that I stopped feeling like myself. I'd wake up more tired than before. The energy that used to pull me out of bed with purpose gone. And those intimate moments, once second nature, suddenly became something I started to avoid. No one ever tells you this might happen. No one prepares you for the quiet fading. As men, we often suffer in silence, thinking it's just a part of getting older. But then, one day, I heard something that shook me awake. You're not broken. Your body is just hungry. Hungry for something you stopped feeding it. And from that moment on, I began a new journey. Not to become someone else, but to meet myself again. The man I used to be. If you're watching this video right now, maybe you're searching for that part of you too. Maybe you've told yourself, it's just age. But no, sometimes it's because we've stopped caring for the deepest parts of who we are. And here's the good news. You can start again today. In this video, I'm going to share 3 simple foods, the kind you probably walk past every day, that have helped thousands of men over 60 to regain their vitality, improve blood flow, rebuild confidence in and out of the bedroom. No pills, no tricks, just the most natural things. But before we dive in, I'd love to know one thing. Where are you watching this from? Are you in California, Texas, Florida? Maybe a peaceful town in Ohio or Georgia, or even somewhere outside the US. Drop your location in the comments below, because this journey isn't just yours. It's shared by men all over the world. Ready? Because what I'm about to share might not just change your day. It might awaken the man inside you who you thought was gone. Let's begin. 1. What happened to the man I used to be? The silent identity crisis after 60. I'll never forget that morning. I looked in the mirror, and the man staring back at me felt like a stranger. Not because of the face, but because of the eyes. They looked tired, uncertain, as if a part of me had quietly disappeared and I hadn't even noticed. I'm not the man I used to be. I used to be full of energy. I used to wake up before the alarm, eager to start the day. I used to feel strong in my mind and in those intimate moments with the woman I love. But then, little signs started showing up. I felt tired even after 8 hours of sleep. I spoke less during dinner, and when the moment came for closeness, I made excuses. I'm just a little tired tonight. I thought it was aging. I thought this was just what happened to every man after 60. Until I heard a talk by Dr. Mohit Khera. One lesson from Dr. Mohit Khera I'll never forget. Your body isn't broken, it's just undernourished. You're still there. You just haven't been fed the right way. That line hit me like a thunderclap. Because it was true. I wasn't broken. I had just been starving myself. Not just physically, but emotionally, hormonally, spiritually. Starving the part of me that made me feel like a man. My name is Phil. I'm 66 years old. And if you're hearing this, I want you to know something. You're not alone. Thousands, even millions of men over 60 are feeling the same way, but few have the courage to speak it out loud. Have you ever felt this way? Have you ever quietly asked yourself, what happened to me? If this story hit something deep inside you, press 1. So I know I'm not the only one standing here saying it out loud. If it didn't connect with you, press 2. Either way, I thank you for listening. And one more thing. Where are you watching this from? Which state in America? Or what country? I'm speaking to you from a small village in Ohio, and I'd love to know how many of my brothers around the world are walking this same path back to themselves. And right now, I want to tell you about something small, yet powerful. Something that brought me back to life. A simple thing that Dr. Khera calls the king of circulation. We're starting with walnuts. And trust me, they're not as simple as you think. Are 2. Supernut number 1. Walnuts, the king of circulation. A tiny thing, but it completely changed how I fall asleep each night. That day, I was sitting quietly on my porch in Ohio, where the autumn leaves fall more freely than the words I ever spoke about what was really happening inside my body. I replayed a video from Dr. Mohit Kara, the man I now see as my guide, and he spoke about something that sounded almost too simple. Walnuts. "Phil," he said, "if your blood isn't flowing, nothing else really matters. No strength, no mood, no intimacy." I remember sitting there in silence, not because I'd never heard of walnuts, but because no one had ever told me they could help me feel like myself again. A real story that hit close to home. Dr. Kara shared about John, a 72-year-old man who came to him with tired eyes. He told the doctor, "I'm no longer the man my wife fell in love with." And instead of writing a prescription, Dr. Kara simply said, "Start with a handful of walnuts every night. That's it." Why are walnuts called the king of circulation? Because they're packed with L-arginine, which helps your body produce white nitric oxide, a natural compound that opens up blood vessels and improves circulation, including in the places that matter most for a man. Plant-based omega-3s, great for heart health, reducing inflammation and boosting vitality. And most importantly, natural melatonin, helping you sleep deeper and recover faster. I began not with blind faith, but with honest curiosity. Every night, about an hour before bed, I ate 7 to 10 walnut halves. No pills, no big lifestyle changes. Just one small good thing I could do for myself. And then I started sleeping better, waking up lighter. And one day I realized the blood was flowing again, like the man I used to be. A lesson from Dr. Kara that I carry with me. Good circulation is not just about physical health. It's about returning energy to where it belongs, your mind, your heart, and your manhood. If this resonates with you, press 1. If you're still unsure, press 2. Either way, the fact that you're here, listening, means you've already taken the first step. And I'd love if you left a quick comment down below. Where are you watching this from? I'm Phil, 66 years old, from Ohio, USA, sharing the lesson I learned from Dr. Kara, because if it helped bring me back to life, then maybe it can be the spark you've been looking for too. Next up, I'll talk about a nut with a name that might make you laugh, but a benefit that's no joke at all. Pistachios. Because sometimes the strength you've been searching for is sitting right there in your snack bowl. You want to hear that story? I'll see you in part 3. Pistachios, nature's confidence booster. It wasn't that I lost desire. I had just lost the belief that I still could. I remember exactly when I admitted this for the first time. Not to a doctor, not to a friend, but to myself. One quiet evening in Ohio, I whispered, "I still love my wife, but I'm afraid I'll disappoint her." Not because I didn't want to, but because I wasn't sure I still had what it takes to follow through. In another video, Dr. Kara shared the story of Mark, a 69-year-old man. Mark had once been a runner, confident, strong, but he sat across from Dr. Kara, eyes lowered, carrying a familiar fear. I've started avoiding intimacy, not because I don't love my wife, but because I'm afraid of failing. Hearing that, it hit me in the chest, because I had felt the exact same way. And the answer, it wasn't medication, it was pistachios. Pistachios, the snack we often laugh about at parties, turned out to be a natural confidence booster for men. Why are pistachios so powerful? Hey, Ian? Like walnuts, pistachios contain L-arginine, which boosts on nitric oxide production, improving blood flow to the most important areas. Rich in vitamin B6, which helps regulate testosterone, full of antioxidants and healthy fats, which reduce inflammation and improve the health of the blood vessels crucial for erections. And here's what truly surprised me. There's clinical research showing that men who ate pistachios daily for 3 weeks saw significant improvements in firmness, duration, and overall satisfaction. I followed Dr. Kara's advice. Every afternoon, right around the time I'd start to feel tired and lose focus, I'd eat about 25 unsalted pistachios. No magic formula, just consistency. And after 2 weeks, I stopped avoiding, stopped making excuses, and my wife. She noticed before I did that I was back. A lesson from Dr. Mohit Kara that stayed with me. Most men don't lose desire, they lose belief. And belief is something that can be rebuilt naturally. And pistachios, something so small, became a part of rebuilding that belief inside of me. If this story resonates with you, press 1. If not yet, press 0. Either way, I'm grateful you're still here, and please leave me a comment below. Where are you watching from? Which state? Which country? I'm Phil, 66 years old, from Ohio, USA. Sharing these things I've learned from Dr. Kara because I truly believe that every man deserves to feel confident again, not with pills, but with understanding. And now I want to tell you about one last nut, perhaps the most powerful piece of the puzzle. It's not just about circulation, not just about performance. It's about rebuilding your hormones from deep inside and helping you feel like yourself again. Its name? Brazil nut. And I promise you, the story I'm about to share is one you won't forget. I'll see you in part 4, Brazil nuts, the silent hormone healer. I didn't need to run faster, I just needed to feel like I was truly alive again. One morning, I woke up and looked out the window. The sky was still blue, but inside I felt strangely empty. Not sad, not in pain, just nothing. As if every emotion had quietly faded, leaving behind a 66-year-old man with foggy eyes and a silence that stretched across the entire morning. And I remembered a story Dr. Kara once told about a man named David. David, 70 years old, came into his clinic after months of living like a shadow. He said, "I'm not depressed, I'm not sad, and I'm just not here. I go to work, I eat, I sleep, but I don't feel like myself anymore." His lab results showed that his testosterone was just slightly low, but enough to drain the color from his life. And then Dr. Kara asked him a very unexpected question. Have you ever tried eating Brazil nuts? I used to think of Brazil nuts as just the biggest ones in the snack mix. Who knew they were actually one of the richest natural sources of selenium on Earth? Selenium, a trace mineral that the body can't produce on its own, but desperately needs for testosterone production, sperm quality, thyroid balance, which affects metabolism, energy, and mood, and most importantly, prostate protection. For men over 60, David started with just 1 Brazil nut each morning, right after brushing his teeth. No extra supplements, no drastic diet changes, just 1 nut a day. 2 weeks later, when he returned, Dr. Kara said, he looked me straight in the eye. His posture was taller, his voice had strength again. "I'm back," David said. "I'm still me, but the fog is gone." And when I heard that story, I just sat there, still, because I had walked through that fog too. Not because I was old, but because my body was missing something I didn't even know I needed. Dr. Kara emphasized something that stuck with me. Most multivitamins don't have enough selenium, and too much can actually be harmful. That's why nature gave us the perfect dose, inside just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts. Now every morning, I begin my day with a Brazil nut. It's not just a nut, it's a reminder that I am still alive, still feeling, still striving, no longer drifting through the days like a shadow. When you restore your hormones, you don't just regain your energy, you regain your mood, your meaning, your sense of, I am still me. And all it takes is one small nut each morning. Next, I want to share something Dr. Kara calls the Nut Rhythm Protocol. It's a way to time these 3 supernuts throughout the day so they don't just work individually, but come together like a full symphony for your body. If the previous parts were notes, then what comes next is the harmony. 5. The Nut Rhythm Protocol. How to time your nutrition for maximum impact. It's not just about what you eat. It's about when you eat it, because your body has its own rhythm too. I used to think as long as I ate the right things, I'd be okay. But eventually I realized, just like life itself, it's not only about what you feed yourself, but when. Dr. Mohit Kara calls this the Nut Rhythm Protocol, a way of aligning 3 powerful nuts with your body's natural clock to awaken hormones, restore vitality, and heal from within. Imagine your day like a musical composition. Morning, a gentle opening when testosterone is at its lowest and needs awakening. Afternoon, a slowing tempo when energy fades and support is needed. Evening, a deep closing, the time for rest and repair. These 3 nuts, walnuts, pistachios, and Brazil nuts, when eaten at the right time, don't just work alone. They would amplify one another. They become a trio in harmony. Morning, 1 Brazil nut, right after brushing your teeth. No coffee yet, no toast. Just 1 Brazil nut, enough to give you nearly your entire daily dose of selenium. This is when testosterone is naturally at its lowest, and this is the moment your body is most ready to receive a natural spark. I call this step waking up the man within. Early afternoon, a handful of pistachios between lunch and dinner. This is usually when I feel the most sluggish. Instead of reaching for candy or another cup of coffee, I reach for white 25 unsalted pistachios. It's like refueling halfway through the race. Not just supporting testosterone, but sending blood where it needs to go, especially the places we're often too embarrassed to talk about. I didn't tell anyone, but honestly, since I started doing this, my confidence started coming back, naturally. Evening, a handful of walnuts, about 1 hour before bed. Right when I turn off the lights, I want my body to truly rest. And walnuts help me do that, gently. They bring melatonin to ease sleep, omega-3s to soothe inflammation, and L-arginine to keep the blood flowing, where life still happens. This isn't dessert, it's for a ritual. A quiet thank you to my body. Thanks for today. Now rest. I lived 60 years without this rhythm, and just 30 days of living with it changed everything. I no longer felt like life was slipping by. Instead, I started showing up. Morning, noon, and night. For myself. For the woman I love. For a life I thought had quietly left me behind. Dr. Kara said it best. The body doesn't just need nutrition, it needs rhythm. And when you feed it in tune with that rhythm, everything starts to flow again. Energy, intimacy, joy. Now, I truly believe this. Recovery after 60 doesn't need to be rushed. It only needs to be consistent, gentle, and timed right. Coming up next, I want to talk about something many men, myself included, get wrong. We make mistakes with the simplest things. And those small mistakes, they're often what keep us stuck, even when we're just one step away from turning it all around. Next, I'll share the 3 most common mistakes men over 60 make with nutrition and energy, and how to avoid them in a way that's simple and kind to your body. 6. The 3 most common mistakes men over 60 make with nutrition. We don't grow weak because we age. We grow weak because we keep making the wrong choices, day after day. When I started changing the way I ate, I didn't just learn what to eat or when to eat. I also learned where I had been getting it wrong all along. Not in any dramatic way, but in small, subtle ways. Repeated mistakes that slowly drained my energy and confidence. Dr. Mohit Kara said something in a seminar that stuck with me. The mistakes most men make are not dramatic. They're quiet, repetitive, and deadly to your strength and spirit. Here are the 3 biggest mistakes I, and many men over 60, used to make. Mistake number 1, eating too little healthy fat. For years, I was afraid of fat. Labels like low fat or fat-free made me think, this is better for my age. But I was wrong. A man's body needs good fats, especially to produce testosterone. No fat equals no raw materials, equals low hormones, equals low energy, low mood, and declining intimacy without even realizing why. I still remember Dr. Kara saying, you cannot build hormones without fats. Cutting all fats is like trying to build a house with no bricks. Since then, I've added omega-3s from walnuts, healthy fats from pistachios, and a bit of olive oil each day. Not too much, just enough to nourish the man inside me. Mistake number 2, eating at the wrong times, especially skipping breakfast and craving sugar in the afternoon. I used to skip breakfast. I'm not hungry, I told myself. Then by late afternoon, I'd crave sweets, cookies, candy, even soda. I thought it was normal, but really it was my body crying out for stable energy. Skip breakfast, hormones stay asleep, morning fatigue, eat sugar in the afternoon, insulin spikes, crash by evening. Dr. Kara once compared it to driving without gas, then dumping low-grade fuel in the tank at the end of the day. I switched to a Brazil nut in the morning, and pistachios in the afternoon. Result? No more sugar cravings, no more 3 p.m. crashes, and by evening, I still had energy for the things I used to avoid. Mistake number 3, relying too much on supplements and forgetting that real food is real medicine. I used to have a drawer full of capsules. Omega-3, zinc, B vitamins, testosterone boosters, ginkgo. Every morning I'd swallow them like it was my duty, but nothing really changed. I still felt tired, foggy, disconnected. Then I stopped. I switched to eat real food, in the right dose, at the right time. And something strange happened. Without any boosters, my body started to regulate itself again. Dr. Kara always says, your body listens better to real food than to synthetic whispers. And for the first time in years, I started to hear my body answer back. 3 small mistakes, but each one is like a pebble in your shoe. You don't fall, but you no longer want to keep walking. Now I've taken those pebbles out. I walk lighter, I feel clearer, and most of all, I want to live fully again. In the next part, I'll share something you might not have thought about. Some of the foods that restore your physical strength also heal your emotional well-being. Because the truth is, a man's true power doesn't just come from blood or hormones. It comes from feeling connected to himself and to the one he loves. See you in the next chapter. Hour 7. Beyond the body, how these nutrients restore mental clarity and emotional connection. I didn't just regain my strength, I reclaimed myself. One evening, my wife looked at me gently but with a hint of surprise in her eyes. She didn't say much, just smiled, a small smile, but I could feel something behind it. I asked, "What is it?" And she softly replied, "I don't know. You just seem here." And in that moment, I understood. For years, I had been there, physically, driving the grandkids, sitting at dinner. But somehow, I had been absent from my own life, in a way no one could quite name. Dr. Kara once said, "Most men don't lose testosterone first. They lose connection. They lose the feeling that they matter. And then the hormones follow." When I started eating one Brazil nut each morning, I thought I was just supporting my hormones. But then, my mind started to feel clearer. I remembered little things. I stayed present in conversations. And most importantly, I started to care again. Not just being there, but being truly present. And walnuts, with their omega-3s, didn't just help with circulation. They calmed my mind. I began to sleep deeper, And when I woke up, my head no longer felt like it was wrapped in fog. I felt clear, lighter, and at times, even inspired. Pistachios, rich in vitamin B6, helped balance dopamine and serotonin, and the feel-good chemicals I had never thought much about. But thanks to them, my mood stopped swinging. I no longer felt silently irritable for no reason. I became softer, and in that softness, I became strong enough to connect again. One afternoon, I made tea for my wife, a small gesture, but the first time in a long while I had done it without being asked. And she smiled again, warm, like the gentle Ohio spring. I knew she wasn't smiling because of the tea. She smiled because her husband had come back. Dr. Kara once said in an online seminar, "Restoring your energy is not just about function. It's about connection to your thoughts, your values, and the people you love." And I believe that now, more than ever. I used to think recovery was about muscles, testosterone, and blood flow. But I've come to see the greatest gift is no longer feeling lost in your own life. These 3 nuts taken at the right time didn't just strengthen my body. They opened a quiet door, one that led me back to clarity, to connection, and to myself. And that's when I realized true healing is when you don't just feel better. You want to embrace life all over again, completely. Next, I'll share a few real-life stories from men, even older than me. Men in their 70s, 75s, even 80s. They weren't chasing six-packs or marathons. They just wanted one thing, and to feel like themselves again. And they did it. In the next part, I'll tell you about men who transformed after 60, 70, even 80. Not with medication, but with belief and small, daily actions. 8. Not too late. Real stories of men who reclaimed their vitality after 60, 70, even 80. It's never too late to start truly living. I used to think I was one of the rare few trying to start over after 60, but then I realized I was just one of many men out there quietly searching for a way back to themselves. And there's George, 73 years old, living in rural Texas. He used to be a Marine, a man the whole town respected, but after retiring, he went quiet. He stopped going out, stopped taking his grandkids to the park, and during an online consult with Dr. Kara, he said, "I'm not sad, I just don't see a reason to leave the house anymore." The doctor didn't prescribe any pills, just gave him a simple plan. 1 Brazil nut in the morning, a handful of pistachios in the afternoon, a few walnuts before bed. 4 weeks later, George wrote back, "I just taught my grandson how to tie his shoes, and he taught me how to take a selfie. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm alive." Then there's Samuel, 68 years old, widowed, from Chicago. Samuel used to be a history teacher. After his wife passed away, he withdrew. He stopped showing up at church, stopped coming to class reunions, but an old friend sent him one of Dr. Kara's videos. He didn't really believe in it, but he figured he had nothing to lose. Now, Samuel hosts a monthly talk at the local library called The Power of Rebirth After 60. And he didn't just get his health back, he reconnected with his community and with himself. And then there's Henry, 82 years old, from Seattle, a retired mechanical engineer, a man who spent his life building things for others. But in his early 80s, he started forgetting things, had trouble sleeping, and lost interest in life. His granddaughter, a young doctor, begged him to try Dr. Kara's natural approach. He laughed and shook his head, but he did it anyway. Because she was so patient, he said. 6 weeks later, he was sleeping better, remembering the names of old jazz songs he used to play. And then, one day, he uploaded a video of himself playing Autumn Leaves on his old trumpet. It went viral, and he became himself again, the man who once made entire jazz clubs go silent to hear him play. I'm not sharing these stories to impress you. I'm sharing them to show you this. These men were just like you, just like me. They once believed their time had passed. But in truth, That was just the pause before a new movement began. Dr. Kara once said something I'll never forget. Healing after 60 is not a miracle. It's a rhythm, and when followed, the music returns. None of these men were chasing six-packs or marathons. They just wanted one thing: to feel truly alive for the rest of their days. And they did, not because they were special, but because they were started on an ordinary day with one small action. In the next part, I'll share the complete picture, the 3 nuts, the 3 times, and how to bring it all together into a daily rhythm of renewal. This is what I now call the Nut Protocol. No pills, no overwhelm. Just simple habits, timed right, practiced with patience. See you in the next part. 9. The final message: rediscovering the man within. I didn't become someone new. I simply found my way back to the man I used to be. When I first started this journey, I never imagined I'd be saying all this out loud to thousands of people. I used to keep everything inside: the fatigue, the quiet fears, the moments I turned away from myself. I used to think, well, I'm just getting old. But then I realized, we don't lose ourselves. We just forget how to return. Every morning, when I reach for a single Brazil nut, I'm not just taking in a mineral, I'm sending a signal to my body. Hey, I'm still here, and I still care. In the afternoon, outside, pistachios remind me, we've still got strength. We've still got love to give. And at night, just before I turn out the lights, walnuts become a gentle lullaby. Thank you. Rest now. We begin again tomorrow. Day by day, I didn't need a miracle treatment. I didn't need a prescription. All I needed was a little more awareness, a little more consistency, a little more belief. And my body, my mind, my heart, they responded. Dr. Mohit Kara once said, rediscovery is not reinvention. It's the gentle act of returning to the man who never truly left. I look back on the path I've walked, from a man who was tired, short-tempered, and quietly withdrawing, to a man who is always calmer, clearer, more connected, to himself and to the woman he loves. And I now believe this: a man's strength doesn't lie in muscles or conquest. It lies in presence, in showing up fully at any age. I'm not sharing this because I did anything extraordinary. I'm just a regular man, 66 years old, living in Ohio. No six-pack, no titles, but I have something now. I came back to myself. And to me, that is everything. I hope that wherever you are, whether you're 60, 70, or 80, whether you're in Florida, New York, Texas, or in the Philippines, Vietnam, or anywhere across the world, you remember this: you're not past your prime. You're simply waiting to be reawakened. Because the man you used to be is still there, not broken, not lost, just waiting for you to return. If you've made it this far with me, thank you. In the final part, I'll wrap it all up: the rhythm, the habits, and the subtle lessons I've learned along the way, not just so you'll remember it, but so you can start tomorrow, simply, gently, and powerfully. See you in the final chapter. 10. The Gentle Guide: How to Start This Rhythm Tomorrow Morning. You don't have to change your whole life. You just have to change the way you begin your day. If you've made it this far with me, you might be wondering, where do I start? I asked myself that same question once, and then I realized, starting doesn't have to be loud, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be real. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, don't reach for your phone. Walk to the kitchen, take one Brazil nut, and eat it gently, as a tea promise to yourself. No rush, no pressure, just consistency, one day at a time. In the afternoon, when your energy dips and your mind starts to wander, don't grab coffee or sweets. Reach for 25 unsalted pistachios. You're a natural boost, not just for your body, but for your focus and your mood. And in the evening, about an hour before bed, prepare yourself 7 to 10 walnut halves. Sit down, eat slowly, make it a quiet ritual to close your day. Let your body know it's time to rest, to rebuild, to recover. 3 moments, 3 nuts, 1 new rhythm, made just for T, the man you've always been. I'm Phil, 66 years old, from Ohio. Just a grateful student of Dr. Mohit Kara, a man who helped me rediscover not just my strength, but the meaning of living deeply and loving myself again in the most sustainable, gentle way. If this message touched something inside you, I invite you to do 3 things. 1. Press 1 if you're ready to begin, not for me, but for yourself. 2. Leave a comment and tell me where you're watching this from. What state? What country? I've shared my story from Ohio, USA, and I'd love to know how many men, from California to New York, from Vietnam to the Philippines, are quietly waking up together. 3. Share this video with a friend, a father, a husband, someone you know who might need this message too, because sometimes one small nut, one simple act, one video you stumbled upon can change the rest of your life. Thank you for listening to my story. We, the men over 60, still have so much to live for, so much to give, and so much to come home to. Wishing you a gentle start tomorrow morning with 1 small nut and 1 big promise. Philadelphia, Ohio, USA. 66 years old and starting again every day.